Well, for me, like I grew up with stories all around me. Everything was a story. I did not grow up in a literate culture. So I have the ancestry and cultural ancestry of indigenous Mi'kmaq, which I didn't find out until my adulthood. But also the Irish, and God, we can tell stories, especially if we're drunk, and stories are repeated over and over again. And every time a story is told, the same amount of laughter, the same amount. It's like the story was never told before. And if you ever spent time with my family, that's what we do. We sit around, we tell stories over and over and over and over again that we've all heard for 100 years. And we just laugh the same way we always laugh. We cry at the same places we always cried at.
And the stories get better and better and better with each telling.
Yeah, Newfoundlanders are prone to hyperbole. So I like the stories the way I tell them better than how they really happen. But anyway.
I once heard a line from Megan McKenna, who said that stories save us. And I was thinking about that and thinking about how the way that Jesus decided to teach about God was through story. And our tradition is full of stories of the saints. Stories are the way that we communicate who God is. And I think we connect with stories because they're memorable, because we can put ourselves in the story, because they're entertaining. There's so much more in a story than just in a fact. And Tom Groom said, all stories are true and some of them even happened. And so the facts don't really always matter that much because we can relate anyway and we can learn something. And so what we have found when we were teaching was if we could find a story to illustrate our point, that would make people go, yeah, I get it.
And all of that storytelling, not just the reading of story, but the storytelling enabled us to build our connection as family and as community. And the same is true of sad stories and stories of struggle. But we always told stories. In my culture, we're often told we have I didn't know what the word meant the first time somebody said it to me, a macabre sense of humor. We freaking laugh at everything. We laugh at everything. We laugh at ourselves. We laugh at our mothers. We laugh at our fathers. We laugh about everything. The first thing when something happens is we laugh. And then we call 911. But or we call 911 while we're laughing. My mother would always say, my God, if you didn't laugh, you'd cry, my darling. So that whole concept that you acknowledge that the struggles are real, but you don't live or stay in the struggle. Anything that moves us out of the struggle so the struggle doesn't swallow us. Be able to engage your story in a way that it's always not consuming you, but you can always find a way to observe it. And faith gives us a perspective that God is not just participating in our story, but we're also participating in God's story.
For me, one of the things that this book offers is an honest bunch of reflections on how you deal with both the wonderful times in life and the difficult times in life. And one of the things that we're constantly told in our ministry, in parish life, in the school system is, you guys are so real. And I hope that comes through in the book, because people are tired of perfect little stories and Pollyanna kind of ways of looking at the faith. It's hard. And it's best to go to that, like in the main story of the book, go into that room where there's a whole lot of poop and find something to laugh about and something to learn. Right. And so that's what these stories are about. Finding something to laugh about, something to learn, and some insight, because God's always talking to you, even in the poop.